Paris, France. Our first full day in the city basically didn't even consist of us spending much time in the city. We decided to take today, we had signed up for a trip to Versailles to tour the palace and the gardens there. So first of all, first order of business is to get to Gare du Nord, the main train station, 2 blocks from our hotel, figure out how the whole subway metropolitan system worked, and then make our way out to Versailles itself. It was very confusing because the signs for the D train and the B train did not match what the signs on the screen said. We actually ended up having to ask the pastry chef guy behind the counter, and he straightened it out for it. It was really confusing for a minute there. The train ride from Gare du Nord to Versailles was roughly an hour, and once you get off the train there, it's about an 8 to 10 minute pleasant walk from the train station to the palace grounds itself. It's a nice walk down this tree-lined pathway, when you can see the neighborhood looks beautiful in the area. It's a pleasant little walk, but just be prepared for about a 8 to 10 minute walk once you get there via the train.
It says what? Here we are at our new home
Yes, it's
that
very small.
we just purchased. It's just going to be our summer home. We'll stay here about 3 months a year. What do you think?
It's fabulous. I don't know if it's big enough. We might have to add a wing.
We might, just for her shoes.
My shoes, yes.
The video only gives you an idea of how large scale this building and the subsequent gardens are. You truly have to be here to see it for yourself to really get the idea of how big everything is. With the first half of the tour done, we find ourselves back in the main courtyard. The next wing is the second half of the tour that we're about to begin. That includes the Hall of Mirrors and the King's Quarters. And in spite of what we've already seen, it's actually much more ornate and even more impressive than the first half of the tour. This was one of my favorite halls in all of Versailles. Due to my extensive studying of military history in the past, this is a hall that's dedicated to just that, military history. All of these giant paintings are based on various battles all around the history of the world. Not just France, but although France did have something to do with all of these battles, everything from the French Revolution to the American Revolution to Napoleon, you name it, and it was all so amazing. Well, once we finished the second wing and the second part of the tour, we found a nice cafe inside Versailles, picked up a sandwich, some drinks, chips, and found a spot to sit outside and eat. Then we hit one of the things I was looking forward to the most, about coming to Versailles was going through the gardens. They're so extensive that, again, you have to be here to truly understand how big these are and how many thousands of acres these things span. But they were incredible, and I highly recommend checking out the gardens, even if you don't do Versailles. Not that you would come all the way out here and not do the palace itself, but even if you just want to do the gardens, I think that would even be worth the trip. So once we made the trek back into Paris, we decided to walk around, see what we could find for dinner. We found this place, this Creperie Belle Ronde, and it was so unbelievably good. It was my first real French crepe. I got the ham and cheese with the fried egg, and I could not get enough. I could have eaten 2 of them.
So,
We rounded out our day with a visit to the Paris Catacombs. These were the original areas where the limestone and the different rocks were taken to build cathedrals such as Notre Dame and places like that. Well, in the early 1800s, they began to use it as an ossuary for the overflowing cemeteries throughout the city. There are miles of these tunnels under the city, only a small portion of which are actually accessible by the public, and an even tinier amount that's actually the place where the bones are. A fun, if creepy, experience. Thank you so much for joining us on day 2 of our European trip. Thank you for liking and subscribing and supporting the channel. We'll see you next time.